Hey guys, this is gonna be a short review of the Redcat Rampage Dunerunner. I got this car about 6 months ago, so I've been able to get a good impression on it. This is the V3 version, which should actually be called 3.5 or something, because there are quite a few differences from the early V3s, such as the larger 32cc engine, hardened drive cups, 4-bolt engine, and so on. Before moving on, I'm gonna give you a quick look at this car from all angles. Now bear in mind, this is not a stock Dunerunner. The wheels are HPI rims with tarmac busters. The air filter is an HPI Baja filter with outerwear over it. And at the back you can see the Jet Pro exhaust, which I'll get into later. Some tail lights, small stuff like that. So let's get the cons out of the way first. Things I don't like about this car. Brakes. Out of the box, this car does not stop. Applying full brakes only makes it decelerate ever so slightly. They are utter crap. However, that being said, the brakes are also on the list of things I do like, so all is not yet lost. You'll see exactly what I mean when we get to the pros. Next thing I don't like is the fact that the factory does a really poor job of applying Loctite to screws, setting default settings, and so on. My carb settings were completely off, and the idle screw was so tight that the car started rolling as soon as the engine started. So you need to take your time and go through everything before taking it out for the first time to avoid losing screws, running too lean, that sort of stuff. Okay, what next? Oh yeah, the throttle servo is, I think, by far the worst part on the car. Its failure within the first few months is almost a certainty. Redcat started selling the Dunerunner back in 2008, I think, and it's been constantly improving it, listening to user issues, fixing them, which is why I decided to go with this brand in the first place. But the throttle servo is, I think, among the last things that remained unchanged. Hopefully, its time will come sooner rather than later. Another con is the fact that there's no central diff. It's basically locked 50-50 between front and rear, and that itself is not such a huge issue for me, but the weird thing is that the front wheels are slightly taller than the rear wheels, which means that there's constantly a small slip somewhere, as they can't both rotate at the same speed. Anyway, this is not such a huge issue, as there are other wheels options out there. As you can see, I'm using a set of 4 rear tarmac busters, so this doesn't really affect me that much. Okay, I think that's it for the cons. Let's go on to the pros. First impression this gives when unboxing it is, damn, this is huge. It looks much bigger in person than it does in photos or videos. It's longer and wider than on HPI Baja. Second thing you'll notice is that it feels really strong. Thick metal parts everywhere, thick aluminum chassis, I think 4mm, metal gears, metal gear plate, metal shock towers. Everything is real beefy and has a very sturdy overall feeling to it. Next, the 4x4 system. That's actually one of the main reasons I chose this over a Baja. I'm a big fan of the stability and traction of 4-wheel drive vehicle offers. Also, the possibility to turn it into 2-wheel drive in just a couple of minutes is a big plus. I can have it either way. Although, to be honest, after installing some performance upgrades, which I'll get into later, I never felt the need to do that. The engine has plenty of power to do donuts, to maintain huge power slides, everything you want. And I'm not talking about doing that on dirt or grass. It's doing all of that with tarmac tires running on tarmac. So there's no shortage of power there. Okay, next pro, as promised earlier, the brakes. Although out of the box they sucked big time, there was a real easy fix for this. Basically, the problem was that the servo was unable to transfer all of its power to the brake lever, because all the servo did was compress a small spring on the linkage, and it was the spring itself that did the actual pushing on the lever. Some people replaced that spring with a small piece of fuel tubing, so the servo is always pushing directly on the brake lever, but that has the undesired effect of always locking the brakes. What I did was to replace the spring with 2 small springs interlocked with each other. This gives me the possibility to apply just a little brake as the springs are being compressed, and when applying full brake, the springs interlock with each other, basically turning them into a solid piece of steel, and the entire force of the servo is transferred to the brake lever, locking all 4 wheels even when at high speed. Okay, what next? Oh yeah, the engine. Although this is not a Zenoa or even a CY, it's a pretty good engine, and it's big. It's a 32cc, which is considerably bigger than the 23s or the 26s you get on the Baja. This large capacity engine combined with a few upgrades make this car really fast, spinning all 4 wheels when launching on tarmac, easily doing power slides, donuts, you name it. All in all, this is a real fun package. The two things that had the highest impact on performance were the 8K clutch and the Jet Pro exhaust. I'll tell you, although this Jet Pro is a quite pricey exhaust at about a third of the cost of the car, it's worth every penny. It completely transformed the car. The change in low RPM torque in particular was just insane. Okay, moving on. Another cool thing about the Redcat company in general is that they do constant improvements on their vehicles. Like any company trying to make a cheaper alternative to HPI's Baja, they had their problems in the beginning. However, over the years, they have been listening to customer feedback and they have been making constant improvements to the car. Some examples would include upgrading the drive cups, adding metal gears, adding metal gear plate, adding 4-wheel drive, bigger engine with 4-bolt setup, sleeve drive cups coming later this year, and so on. And the cool thing is that these upgrades didn't drive the price of the car up. They are still selling it for around 600 bucks. Another thing I really like about this car is that it's ridiculously easy to work on. I actually had a bet with a friend of mine and we timed how long it would take me to get the entire engine out, and it was just under 5 minutes, which is just awesome. And last but not least, value for money. I know the HPI Baja has its advantages over this, especially in aftermarket part support, but for the money you spend for this and what you get in return, you just can't beat that. If you invest the price difference in upgrades, by the time you reach Baja money, this thing's a beast. I'm considering buying another 5th scale for my son, and I'm seriously considering getting the monster truck version from Redcat. I was really happy with this brand the first time around, so I figure why not. Don't get me wrong, I would love to get my hands on something like a Lossy 5T, but for over 3 times the price of the Redcat, I just don't think it's worth it. So yeah, that's about it. I hope this short review can help some of you. I know I sure could have used something like this a year ago when I was totally in the dark about what to get. And if you want to see some running videos of my Dunerunner, I left a few links in the description of this video. Bye!